Hey guys, what's up? Eddie Aho here with KissAnalog.com. Alright, so today what I have is a Micsig. I'm excited to present this scope. I bought this differential probe about a year ago. It's been awesome. Like the build quality, the performance. When they contacted me and asked me if I wanted to review a current probe, I was like, heck yeah, and they gave it to me. That was awesome. So again, impressed with build quality and performance. So I've had my eye on the scope, and I thought, what the heck, hit them up on it and asked them if, and they just chuckled at me. They just like, yeah, we'll give you a sale price, but we're not going to give it to you. I guess I'm just too small of a channel. So anyway, I considered it, and then I looked around. On Amazon it sells for about $720, $730. I thought, well, I think that's a good price if it performs as well as, you know, the specs. And I had some confidence because of these other products, but still, you know, it's a lot of money, and I spent a lot of money already on a bunch of stuff I have to review for you guys. I got a bunch of cool stuff, but anyway, I looked around. I found it on sale at Banggood for just over 500 bucks. So I thought, all right, at that price, I think it's worth showing you guys, and maybe you get excited about it. So I took it out of the box already. That box came in another box, so it was shipped really well. It came heat shrunk into this plastic. I took that off because it's kind of crinkly, and came packed in this foam. So it was packed really well. In this box also came this box with all the probes and some other cool stuff I'm going to show you. So here, let's turn it on. Now it turns on pretty fast. I'm going to go ahead and time it. I did a video about a year ago, the top 4 scopes for under 500 bucks, and what I wanted to show was scopes that had pretty much all the features you'd want. 4 channels, deep memory, that kind of stuff. This scope at 720 wouldn't fit there, but really, okay, see, tab is less than 25 seconds, and then you hit the scope because it's a tablet. Those are applications. And then it starts up the scope, and it takes another 5 or 10 seconds for that. So it's pretty darn fast. And I think there's a way to make it come right up as a scope, to speed it up if you want to. Anyway, I haven't got that far. Alright, so yeah, here, let me just show you why I think it performs so well against those other 4 scopes, you know, for under 500 bucks. If you looked at all their features, this guy here performs almost best in class in every case, where none of those other scopes you can say that about. For instance, the bandwidth, it equals the best scope, which was a Signet, 100 meg, 4 channel, 1 gigasample per second. But it has 20 megapoints of deep memory. That's quite a bit. The Signet has 14 megapoints, which I think that's a lot. But again, better. The 01 had 40, so it outdid it. And that is divided by all 4 channels. So when you turn them all on, it gets divided up. But if you run 1 channel, you get all 28 megapoints. That's a ton. It also comes with a refresh rate really fast, 80,000 waveforms per second. What that is all about is when you're sampling at this high sample rate and this deep memory, you gather a bunch of data, then you process it, and then you have to go capture more data, process it, put it on the screen, and every time you go out and capture data and then you have to process it, you're kind of blinking. You might miss what's happening in between. Well, if you do that fast enough, hopefully you're not going to miss anything. That's pretty darn fast. That's really fast. I think the best in class might have been that 01 at 100,000, but you know, once you're up to these kind of speeds, I kind of like the memory. 01 had 40 meg. I mean, once you're up to these kind of mega points and that kind of speed, I think you're already there. So it might not be the best in class in those areas, but it's pretty darn close. 500 microvolts per division for your smallest vertical resolution step. That's pretty darn good. The Signet had 500 microvolts. 1 millivolt is the norm. Okay, with this scope, with the prices we're talking about, you get the C version, and you get all these buses. You get 5 different buses, which are pretty awesome. Okay, so that's neat. Also, there's ARINC in the 1553. So I need to check with Micsig to find out how you turn those on. I don't know if they're turned on or not, and I don't see a price for them, so I don't know what the story is. I'll get back to you on that. But that's an option that you get. The battery, 7.4 volt, 7500 milliamp is another option. The lithium ion battery, by the way. And with those, you get the HDMI port. So if you want to have, you know, a monitor on your bench, a bigger screen, you can always do that. And then it also has remote operation, which is really cool. So it comes with a lot of cool things. 8-inch screen, which I kind of jumped over. Touch screen. The 01 had that as well. The 01 GUI I wasn't totally thrilled with. This GUI I am. This GUI works awesome. Alright, so this scope has the mechanical interface, all the buttons and the knobs, and they work just as great as the rest of these scopes I have. They're all push button to center to position or whatever. Yeah, they're fully functional. Really cool. It also has touchscreen, and the touchscreen works great. It's amazing. It's sensitive, but not too sensitive. So you can work between the two if you want to, or you can turn off the screen, the touchscreen, you know, if you don't want that on. It also has some features that you don't typically find at this price point. So I'm going to try to point those out as well. Then lastly, it has that tablet mode, which has some applications which are really cool. There's one engineering application which you can calculate voltage dividers, RC filters, low pass, high pass, X of L, X of C. There's all these little example circuits. I'll show you that. It's really cool how it works. And I guess there's one more thing. The remote operation. I wasn't sure how that was going to go. It went super easy. I put the app on my phone. It loaded up very quickly. Wasn't a big burden to the phone. It just downloaded real fast. You put the IP address of the tablet into your app, and it connects right away. It's super cool, guys. I'm going to show you that too. All right. Okay. So hey, let's yeah. So it hooks up to Wi-Fi and all that kind of stuff. So it's super cool scope. Let's come over here, take a close look at it, see what's in the box. And hey, before we do that, I just want to show you kind of an old school scope. This thing, look how small the screen is compared to that screen. No deep memory, 2 channels, and I'm sure it's missing a bunch of other features like triggering features that these new scopes have. And it came with NiCad batteries, which have been dead for a long time. I bought a second one, that one's dead now too. And you know, finally the charger, the adapter I'd run that scope on finally died. Probably trying to charge the batteries that were dead. Took years, but yeah, finally all that stuff died. I've had this since 1998, guys. That might tell you how long I've been around. But anyway, yeah, I love this scope. Used price on this scope costs probably more than this scope. And that's perception, right? Tektronix. Hey, we got to get that tech. No deep memory, 2 channels. This guy would be the winner every time. But anyway, maybe I will sell this while the perception is there still. Maybe I can, I don't know, just kept around for nostalgia reasons, I guess. It is a nice scope, but yeah, anyway. By the way, the screen size. The 8-inch screen, we talked about that, 8-inch corner to corner, but the usable space, once you know where the signal goes, is really 7 inches. This GW Instax is 8-inch screen. The usable space, and you can get rid of the menus, but the usable space for this signal is still 7 inches. Now, something interesting, well, here's a Siglet. It's kind of the same format as this scope up here. This one is the old school. 8 grids up and down, 10 grids left and right. The Siglet, they added that, you know, the extra grids with the widescreen. They went 14 grids, which I think was kind of cool. But it's still 8 grids high, because it's still kind of narrow. It's narrow and wide. You can see this screen's taller. So it's a different format than these. It still measures the same as this guy, but it's taller. So they went 10 grids, which I think was a great idea. 10 by 14, like the Siglet did. So I really like this interface. I like that screen a lot. And you guys will see when we come over. Hopefully it looks as good on camera as it does in person. And by the way, notice I'm color coordinated. Anyway, alright guys, let's bring the camera over, jump into this thing and see what you guys think. Give me your comments and all that stuff down below, okay? Let's come over and take a closer look. Okay, let's just take a close look at the scope. There's the top of the scope of the BNCs. You have 4 BNCs, auxiliary input. You see the kickstand is back here. Flip it right over. See it snaps down in place, pops up. So that's the kickstand, and it snaps kind of in place here. And you can see there's a fan on the back. Looks like there's some vents right here, and there's vents here on the side, vents on this side, and vents along the bottom. Also on the bottom, you see these rubberized feet. So when it stands up, it kind of leans on these rubberized feet, so it keeps it from sliding. So that's nice. Alright, so from here you can see the vents better maybe, and you can see the compensation, the HDMI port, and your USB and the other USB-C, and your 12-volt input. Okay, let's flip it over. And this side you see more vents. You see this squishy handle, so that way you can grab it and hold it like this very easily. So that's nice. It's not adjustable. At first when I saw this, I thought this is Velcro and you could adjust the handle underneath, but it's not. It's not adjustable at all. So, but you know, it seems like it works well. I like it. Okay guys, let's just look in the box. Obviously I've been in the box because I've taken everything out. There's the charger, 12 volt, 5.4 amps. Pretty nice. Thing only runs on about 6 watts. But I guess when you're charging the battery you need some more power. Or it came with this bag with all these little guys here. So these are little keepers you put over your BNC connector. You know, you stretch that over, and then you can flip this up over and cover it like that. So that's nice. Little protective covers, keep them clean. This is what I was surprised about. It actually has a screen protector. I'll have to take that off and put it on. That's really cool. That's such a great idea for a portable device. I know a lot of expensive flukes that could, you know, do with one of those. Actually scratched this guy. Well, I didn't scratch it. I bought it scratched at a discount because of the big old scratch. I tried to buff it out, but anyway, it would have been nice to have a screen protector on it. Yep, user guide right here. Pretty nice color. Certificate of calibration. And I've taken the probes out of one of the bags. So here's your little compensation adjustment, the little add-ons, and there's the probes. They seem to be nice probes. They're 200 meg probes, or times 10. Okay, the adjustment for the compensations on this end. Sometimes it's on the other end. So that's the bag they came out of. And P130A 200 meg. So they're actually designed for 200 meg applications. That's great. And here's the little spring tip we like to use to shorten the ground connection. So there you go. And then another bag. So it's pretty cool. Alright, so I'll put the first 2 probes in. We'll just use 2 probes for now. Color code them for the channels. Alright guys, now I'll just go ahead and connect both of these to the compensation port. Okay, now that I've done that, I'm going to come up here and see, get enough light on this thing. Come up here and hit the auto. You see how fast it automatically positions these things? And look, they look compensated, so I'm not even going to mess with them. I mean, I wonder if they compensate the probes before they leave the factory, because they look great. Okay, so let's just look at the scope. Here's your horizontal position. Okay, we can make them bigger, smaller, you know, get more waves or less. Down here you can see, as I'm turning it, you see it pop up here. 500 microseconds, but permanently it's red right there. Okay, and then we can change the position. See the cursor right, or the trigger position right here. See how it moves the whole screen back and forth. And then once I'm over here, I can push it, center it again. Okay, so I can do it that way, or I can come down here and I can say, oh, I want to go more waveform, smaller or wider. Or I can even just touch this 200 microsecond thing and look at all those different numbers that come up. So I can hit 10 milliseconds, or I can quickly hit 5 nanoseconds. So that's a pretty interesting feature. So there's the touch screen, and there's the horizontal. Now look, we also have the zoom feature, right? So we can hit zoom, and up here you see the waveform that we were looking at. Now it's up here, and this section's highlighted, which is zoomed in right here. So that's pretty cool. Again, we can spread that out. You can see how small it's getting up here, or see it's getting larger, the highlighted section. So we can zoom in like that. And again, we can, you know, move the position around too. So we can, you know, look over here if we wanted to. Maybe we look at the falling edge of those two. Put them over here in the center. We want to stretch them out. We can do that kind of stuff. I can hit the button, re-center everything. So that's pretty nice. I can come down here and do it this way too. I can come up here and select that, do it that way. So really cool. Okay, we'll turn off the zoom. And there's a lock feature. If you want to lock it in, you can hit the buttons together and it'll lock the scope so that won't change. Okay, then our vertical. So that was our horizontal. Here's our vertical. So we have our 4 channels that we can, we first have to, let's say if I want to move channel 2, I have to touch channel 2, highlight that one, then I can change the amplitude of that one. Or I can change the position of it. Or you know what? I can also go to the menu and look at all the stuff I can do. DC, AC, ground, pretty common stuff, right? Probe type, voltage, current, 10x. Look at this. If I go to here, look at all the different, you know, I can go to 500x if I want. Or I can go to 5 milli-x. So it's pretty cool, all the ratios you got and how easy it is to select them. The other thing you can do, instead of touch screen, you can scroll through them this way, and then when you find the one you want, you can just push down and select it that way. Saw the wave go AC coupled. If I go back to DC, so you can select it here or you can select it here. And look, you can, when you expand it vertically like this, see how it's expanding it off of the zero reference right here. So that's what's highlighted. Now I can come down here and select center if I want. And then when I change this, see how it expands it? It expands around the center of the screen. So as I get bigger and bigger, it's pushing it away from the center. So you might do that because you want to get some good resolution on the top of your waveform maybe. You know, so different reasons to do that. So we go back to 0 is kind of a default. And you know, one thing guys, whenever you're playing with your scope, if you ever kind of get just lost, just go ahead and hit auto. It'll just kind of set you back up. Okay, now I have to go back and select channel 2 so I can expand that one. And you notice when I'm doing this, 2 volts comes there, 1 volt, 5 volts, 10, and then it's up there just temporarily and then it goes away, but permanently it shows it right there. The other thing is I can come up and do it this way. I can say I want bigger here, or I want smaller. Or I can hit the channel 2 and have it pop up there. Now here's another thing that's really cool. Like I say, you don't see this on every scope, but you have the 20 meg, you know, you have the full bandwidth or the 20 meg, right? And again, I could scroll through the menu this way. But look what else you have. You have a high pass and a low pass. That's really cool that you can do that. Look what happens to my signal when I do the high pass. Then low pass. That's really neat, huh? And you can come over here and change your frequency by hitting that. And then see, you have your plus and minus, or you can just grab it and pull it. Whoops, here, let me go to this guy. And it'll let me pull it across here, change it. Or I can hit the plus or minus. I mean, that's really cool, I think. And then you just come over here and hit, get rid of your menu. Okay, so that was the horizontal, then we did the vertical. You also have the reference on vertical. You know, you can assign things to references. You got 4 of them. See this little down arrow here? That, I forgot to show you that. That's on this menu here. So we got channels 1 through 4. If I hit this, then it goes down to math and references. And then, so there's the reference right there. Pops up. Or look what else. I have S1, S2. I have the shift key that I can go do those. Or I can just click on it here. And right now, S2 is assigned to UART. So you can see all the setups for the UART. Or I can go to LIN, or CAN, or SPI, I2C. Now I wonder if I can do the 429. And it sure looks like I can. 1553. Wow. It looks like it's there, but yeah, kind of. I didn't know that, you know, they don't say that those are assigned options, so that kind of throws me. But it looks like they're on there. I think that covers the vertical section. Again, vertical, you can push to center. Center's the waveform. I can position it back down here, expand it, hit center again. And I can turn on channel 3 and channel 4. And you can see how they're set up. It says full bandwidth. If you put the filter, it'll tell you what's assigned there. Let's just assign a high pass filter. So see, it says H for high pass. It even tells you the frequency. That's super cool. Then you can adjust the height of any of these guys. There's no signal there, so you can't really see what's going on. But so even though we have one set of controls, and you have to select which channel you want to control here. If you go over the screen, it's like you have individual controls. You can just jump around. Okay, then we have our trigger section, right? You got a force trigger, which is sometimes left off some scopes. That's really nice. And then you have your levels. See, my levels right there, and as I change it, move it, you can see the value change. It's a 500 millivolts right there. Or I can center it, and it goes back to the center right here. So that's really cool. Here's a neat feature, I think. See these up and down arrows? It says source in between it. So right now it's on channel 1. If I go down, it's on channel 2. I can scroll up there, locks it in. Or I can go to channel 3. There's no signal there. Channel 4. Or if I push down again, it pops back. It just rolls around. So that's a really neat feature. I like that. Then you have your menu button. And look at all the different types of triggers. I'll bring that over here, just kind of zoom in on that so you can see that better. Yeah, there's quite a bit of triggers there, right? You got rising edge, falling edge, dual, so it'll trigger on both sides. Falling, rising, look, noise rejection. So you got all your pulse, your logic types, and then look at all the different logics that pop up when you do that, or N edge. So once you hit one of these guys, like say runt, it says positive or negative, either. So lots of cool trigger options. Alright, and then we have this section where we have the auto, run, stop, single sequence. So if I push this, it's going to just trigger on the next signal. So yeah, if I hit single sequence, it just automatically triggers on the next one. It says run, stop. So do it again and keep on hitting it. Lights up real fast. says run stop bore here, so I can also run and stop it from there. But yeah, single sequence, you know, since so. And then it has a screen capture. If you just push this, it has 8 gig RAM built into it, so stores it away. Alright, let's turn off some of these waveforms. Whoops. Turn off channel 2 as well. And then I'm going to bring channel 1. Here, I'm going to push it, center it, and expand it. Okay? And it's AC coupled. You can see the little AC coupling right there, and you can tell because the reference is in the center of the wave. Now, what if I want to bring up my cursors? So, see, I have to hit the shift key, and then there's the cursor. Now, also, I could have just came down here and turned it on right there. And see, it has Y1, Y2, and change a Y. So I can grab one of those cursors and put it right there where I want it. It's pretty, you know, it's pretty easy to put them where you want them. Okay, and it says 2 volts between them. So then I can also go this way. I can, oops, my shift light went off. I got to turn on my shift light, and then I can move the cursor around this way too. And so see, once I get that where I want it, then I can push it, and then it highlights this one, and then I can push that where I want it, then push it, and then it highlights both. So maybe I push it down this way to you know, compare this voltage to another voltage or something, I don't know. But you can move them around as a couple like that, okay? So then I can come over here to this cursor, or I could hit shift and turn it on this way, and then I get my X. So this is the X cursor control and the Y cursor control. If you can see them right here, they're kind of notated right there in the corner. Okay, and then it tells me the values, and see the X's are right here, so I can grab it this way if I want, move it right there, grab this guy, move it over here. Alright, so that's the cursor menu. Oh, one thing I want to show you is this fine adjustment. So you probably already saw it, but you can, you know, move this around like this. See how it's moving that cursor? So that's kind of the fine adjustment. Oh, I almost forgot to show you this. You have to turn off your shift key or else you're going to be in cursor mode, but you hit this menu button and see how the arrow points down? So you get this menu that pops down, and you have your sample, display, trigger, so you can adjust your display, your waveform, graticule, or persistence, your X, Y. So you've got a lot of controls here, and you got your trigger, auto. So yeah, there's a bunch of stuff. Here's a user set. So there's a self-adjust and a factory reset. You take your probes out, and once you let your scope warm up, you can hit self-adjust, and it'll you know, adjust, kind of compensate itself, and if you have any DC offsets, it'll adjust itself. There's a capture type, the type of capture you want, inverse color, enable, disable, timestamp, enable, disable. So there's a lot of things you can play with this. Here's the depth menu, so you can change your memory depth if you want to. Right now it's on auto, so it automatically sets your depth based on your sample rate and everything. It'll try to max it out for you. So there's, yeah, just a lot of things up here to do. Look, there's your measurements that you can measure. And you know what, you can select, see, if I just come down here, select a bunch of measurements for channel 1. See how it's showing me what I'm selecting here, and it's placing them down here. But look at that, you got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 different measurements. That's a lot of measurements. So pretty cool stuff. I can turn off the cursors there, get rid of those if I want. Now see this menu here that's pointing up? It comes up with this menu. Now I want to show you something. Let's turn that off. Now this one pointed down, this menu button pointed up, so if I do this, I can grab that menu and just drag it down. And that's that button right there. Or I can come up here and grab those menus, which this menu button gave me. So those are the, you know, the ways to do it on your screen. Now look right here, you have your serial stuff. So if you're in a serial mode, you can set up your serial bus, your UART, and look at all this stuff. It's just crazy. And here's your bits, all that. Here's ASCII, binary, or hex. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. Okay, so here, let's go back here. We'll turn off the serial stuff. We're back to our regular screen. And here's all measurements, so you can bring up all your measurements. Now here's the zoom. So that was the zoom feature. I didn't show you that before. I was kind of waiting to show you this menu where you have all this stuff down here. So here's your screen. We just captured the screen. That was the same as this screen capture. So yeah, you can do everything on the screen that you can do here, and vice versa. So that's pretty cool, right guys? Oh, you know, one thing I haven't shown you is the math. Let's go to there. Now look, the FFT setup. So if I come over here and select math, see it's FFT, there's linear, there's decibels, and you can assign it to what channel or a reference, and you have all these different, you know, filters: rectangle, Hamming, Hanning, Blackman. Now once you got your math selected, you can control it by using this button, or by your horizontal command, and you can center it. See, if I push the center, it centers it, and then I can position it. I can spread it out. Wow, might have gone too far there. So yeah, you can grab it, you can move around this way too. So you can't do the pinch commands. I keep on trying to do that, but it doesn't allow you to do that. Now, hey, by the way, when I touch this, you notice how these fine go up and down? Or when I go, whoops. Yeah, I'm moving everything all over the place. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the position, center things again, hit math, position. So yeah, so now the arrows are pointing up and down, so I can do the fine adjustments this way. So see this waveform here? If I want to capture more grids so I can get a finer resolution on my FFT, I can do it that way. I come down here and hit FFT. Center it there, and then move it back over. So it's pretty easy to get around and use. It's pretty intuitive scope, I think. I can set the position of this guy up this way. See how my reference position's moving up. So yeah, there's your FFT. And if you want to get rid of your signal you're looking at, you can do that. It allows you to move it, so you got your whole screen for your FFT. Alright guys, now see this button here? Let's go to here. This home button takes us to our tablet mode. See the scope? That's where we were. If I touch that, we'll go back to our scope. This is a really cool tool. Look at that. So it shows you a schematic. You can fill in any of these three variables and it'll solve for the other one. So let's say we got 10 volts. And let's say RA is 1K. And RB is 1K. Alright, then we want to solve for V out. So, oh, I already got V out here. Let's solve for V in. Whoops, I gotta go this way. 20 volts. So if I have 10 volts here, if I want 10 volts and I have two 1K resistors, I have to have 20 volts to divide it in half, right? So yeah, you just fill in any slot you want, leave the one that you want to calculate, and it'll calculate that for you. That's a resistor divider. Look, here's reactance. same thing, fill in 2. So if you're trying to find a capacitor that will give you a certain amount of impedance at a certain frequency, you can plug those in. Or if you know your capacitor, you can plug that in, you know your frequency, it'll tell you your X and C. And then here's your color ring. If you know the value and you want to know what colors, you just put that in, it'll solve for the colors or vice versa. And you can do the 4 ring or the 5 ring. See the 5th ring's over here. And look, resonance, parallel resonance, serial resonance. Again, plug in 2 of the variables, it'll give you the calculate the 3rd. And look, you got an RC filter. You got a high pass, low pass filter. Same thing. Parallel resistance. What if you only have 2 values? Let's say you have a 10K and a 10K here. And the other ones are not installed. You can find your total resistance. There it is, 5K, 2 10Ks in parallel. So you don't need to fill in all 4 values. 3-terminal voltage regulator. Maybe your VREF is 2.5, maybe it's 1.24. You can plug in, maybe it's 1. You put in your VREF, you can put what output voltage you want, and you can select one of the resistors and it'll solve for the other one. Then here's a note. This is actually can be complex math. You have 2 input voltages and you have 2 resistances being summed by this. So you want to see what this voltage divider is. You know, this makes it really easy. And a precision resistance comparator. So that's pretty cool too. Look at that. You can come up with your values and it'll tell you, you know, what values are possible. There's a little note section. So that's pretty cool, huh? Okay, now see these 3 things down here? If I hit this guy right here, it takes me back to the home screen. If I do that one, it just takes me back, right? Now see these 2 bubbles, the 2 dots? That means I have another screen. See the one on the right's a little larger. That means I'm on the right one. So if I go back this way, back here, here's an app market. Now oops, accidentally touched something. Oh, I touched FTP. So it's trying to set that up. Okay, I'm going to go back, guys. Let's go back to, okay, I'm going to show you that I upload these. These guys were not installed, the WPS Office or the FTP, I installed those. I just hit the buttons to say install and installed. Okay, if I go back to home again, now see this here, let's go over here. There's a browser. You can actually browse the web. So you can, obviously they've got Micsig typed in there, but you can punch in your own addresses and do your own browsing. Okay, and look at this, a user guide. That's built in, of course, and you can go read, you know, the manual. You can hit this page right here, type in what page, you can jump to it. So it's really easy to get around. Okay, we'll go back to the home screen. Here's a calculator, calendar. It's pretty cool, right? Lots of stuff. File management tool. Here, I'll just open that up so you can see what that looks like. So, yeah. It's like a little tablet, right? Okay, we got our clock. You got some alarms you can set. You can set a number of alarms. Okay, you can add alarms. There's a timer. So that's pretty neat. So here's the style. You can set up the kind of clock, snooze. You can. There's a lot of controls you have here. And there's a lock off in case you locked up your screen over here. So what else do I want to show you? Oh, gallery. So if you've saved things to your scope, so I've saved some waveforms, I can bring up these waveforms. Like, let's say I want to bring this guy up. So yeah, pretty nice, right? I can go back this way, back again. So that's your back button. Now, you know, like on your iPad or your phone, you can also do this, and it shows you all your apps you've opened up. So you can just turn them off just like you can on your phone, which I think you probably want to. I don't think you want to leave all these apps. Now see, when I have to wait just a moment for the X's to show up. I'll just turn them all off. My fat fingers sometimes don't work. There's that app. That was super cool. Just wait a moment, then the X appears. Okay, so we're back there, and I hit this, take me home page, and here's the settings. There's a lot of the stuff, so I set up the Wi-Fi. That was super fast to set up, just like it is on your phone. And here's display. You can see all the settings you have here. Really easy to set up, guys. Alright guys, check it out. You download this app on your phone, on your iPad, your tablet, whatever, Android device, and it's super cool. Look at this scope. There we go. It's going to turn on the scope app, so you can control things. Yeah, there we go. Now I can come to my screen. I can change that. Let's see if I want to go to there's channel 1 I just turned on. I'm going to turn on channel 2. There we go. I want to space them out a little bit. Yeah, you can see how easy. Oops, you can't see my fingers. Sorry. Yeah, my screen on my phone looks like it does on the iPad. I mean I'm calling it an iPad. Anyway, on the scope. So yeah, the screens look the same. So I can sit here and move things around just like I can on here. It works the same way, and it works like instantly. I mean, it's super cool. Okay, one thing I want to show you is, see the little Wi-Fi symbol on the far left, and then in between there's a battery symbol showing charging and then the time. So now let's turn it off. And so if you accidentally hit this when you're moving it around, you'd have to purposefully say, oh, I want to restart, or I want to hit power off. And then with the charger cable in, it'll do this. It'll show you where your charge capacity is. And it takes, a few seconds for it to scroll across. And I noticed the lights blinking on and off down here in the corner, the power button. So it looks like it's fully charged, and then it'll drop down and it'll sit there and just I guess level charge or float charge, and then it finally turns itself off, and this guy's still blinking, showing that it's charging or that it's plugged in. Now what if I take this out? Okay, it just turns completely off at that point. I could hear relay, and I saw the screen kind of brighten up for just a split second there. So it looks like it fully turns off and goes into sleep mode. So that's pretty nice, right? Alright guys, so what do you think? You like it? Let me know what you think about this scope. $500 or just over $500. I think it's a killer deal. I'm really impressed with it right now. I'm going to use it in some other videos on some of these projects I'm working on, so you can get a better look at it. Maybe I'll do it side by side with the GW, kind of see how it stacks up to that scope. But right now, very impressive. Awesome. Okay, hey guys, give a thumbs up to the video if you like it. If you don't like the scope, don't give the video a thumbs down unless you don't like the video. Alright guys, thanks a lot for watching. Thanks patrons for helping me buy this thing, and thanks for everybody watching the video and for supporting the channel. So we'll see you next time.